Episode 1, Mental Health, How We Got Through It. Okay, you guys, welcome back to the Kendall Doyle Show. This is the start of season 4. I am very excited. We are finally in a studio in New York. If y'all have been here with me, I've been on my journey. I've been in Dallas, I've been on Zoom, I've been everywhere, and I'm finally here. Um, I want to do things different this season, so I'm excited for you guys to see what I have in store. I want to talk about topics that affect our generation, the good and the bad, because there are things that are happening in our generation that benefits this generation, but there are also things that are happening that I feel like this podcast can create a space for us to talk about and use it as a therapy. And so I got my friend Ashley here, and she's co-hosting with me today to talk about. We're going to talk about mental health today. I think that's a really good way to start because that is a big, big problem, issue that we face, and I think really in the black community. I don't know. She's Afro Latina. Is that a thing in that community too?
I mean, I think that it kind of something that like relates to all of us.
I know it.
So,
It relates to
and
all of us, but I'm saying like we don't really talk about it.
yeah, it's something that's like frowned upon,
Right.
and people have a hard time like discussing like, oh, I'm not feeling okay in the head. There's that mentality of just wanting to keep it going, keep it pushing, and like if something bad happens, like don't think about it, just go on to the next. But sometimes I feel like you gotta sit there and actually think about it and let things manifest and like just not keep it pushing, but like you go through it, you talk about it, and then, you keep going and
Right.
you find coping skills.
So what I wanted to touch base on is people in our generation are starting to commit suicide because
Yeah.
of mental health issues. And two people that it was brought to light, and I know it's been happening especially since we've been through this pandemic, and it's been happening to a lot of people, but because there are celebrities that it's happening to: Regina King's son, Ian Alexander Jr., and then Chesley Christ.
Yeah.
She was the former Miss USA. She committed suicide in her apartment as well. And it's just really heartbreaking to me that this is happening to our youth. And I don't understand why. I think I kind of have a understanding as to why, but what do you think? Why do you think this is happening?
I think first and foremost, one thing that, is hard is when you have a spotlight or there's a lot of attention on you. So, there's like two spectrums to this. So, we're talking about these two individuals. They obviously are in the industry, like they had, a spotlight on them. And I think it's very easy, especially with social media, for people to go on, maybe saying hurtful things. Or even just on the other side of things, you could just feel alone. You could feel like, people are maybe trying to get close to you just because of who you are or what you're involved in. And that could feel lonely because it's like, can I trust this person? Is this someone that, has my best interest? And I think also, people that maybe aren't in the spotlight or don't have that light on them, they'll look at these people and be like, oh, but your life is so perfect. Like, you have access to this, or you have this money, or you have whatever. And I think that by people saying things like that, it makes them feel like, oh, like my problems aren't like important.
Right.
And like people are basically making them feel small.
Mm-hmm. I also think that this generation really don't have spirituality anymore. Like we lost the concept of religion, and everyone like, cause like when I meet people, I'm like, do you believe in God? And then they'll say, yeah, I believe in God. But I'm automatically thinking, because of how I grew up, that means that they believe in Christ and everything how I do. And they like, yeah, I believe in God, but like I don't know all about Christ and all of that. And or I have my personal relationship with God. Or it's just not to say that they don't have a personal relationship with God, but I just feel like people don't know who Jesus is anymore. because with situations that happened to me, it was Jesus who got me out of it. And I feel like if people had a more sense of just, you can't just get through this life without having a form of spiritual healing or spiritual health. It's not, I don't see how it can be possible, especially with all the things that we have to face on it. Life is already hard as is. So Jesus Christ is really the way that I feel like us as a generation, when we start going back to church during this pandemic, we don't even go to church anymore. I don't go to church, but I listen to Sarah Jack Roberts on YouTube. You know, that's my girl. I listen to her, but it's a lot of people that don't listen to or don't get into the church community, you know, and that heals the mind, body, and soul to where you don't turn to and to where you'll see that it gets better later, and you don't have to commit suicide. You don't have to end your life because your life is so special.
First and foremost, I think everybody needs something to believe in. So, like,
Yes.
backtracking to your
Yeah.
religion thing,
Faith.
every
Right.
single person needs something to believe in. I feel like, me too. I grew up in the church as well,
Mhm.
and when I was going through like my hardest times, I went to church, and I also sang in the church too, so that helps.
Yeah, I
That's
praise dance.
right.
That's a
It's
form of holy. It's holy. Like, it's just because you don't listen to you don't even have to listen sometimes.
Yeah.
Just feeling that spirit, and
Because you're
keep
hearing
going.
the words and you're feeling the words,
Right.
and like
You
that
feeling
is
his
something that
presence.
keeps you going.
Mhm.
And I feel like it. I mean, of course, there's so many different religions, but what I have to say is like just find one that works for you
Mhm.
and believe in that and
Right.
live by that, because
Exactly.
it is able to provide you, morals. It has you looking at things in a different way, focusing on not being greedy or, having jealousy or just different things like that, like helping you understand that, you have this life
Mhm.
for a reason. And you go through what you go through for a reason. And just because, something may be really, really hard right now, and you feel like maybe it's just like the end and you can't take it, it's like, think, believe that, in the future, it's not going to be the same story.
I love how you said everyone needs something to believe in. And just to go back to how I said, I believe in Christ, I believe in Jesus, and that's what helped me. I'm not telling anyone that, another religion doesn't work, but and I can't force anyone to believe in Jesus.
Mhm.
All I can say is that is what works for me, and that's what
Yeah.
worked for me. And if you want me to share with you how I got through my mental health, it was
That's
the
your
blood of
journey.
Jesus,
Yeah.
and that was my journey of how I got. And I know that He could do the same for anybody that wants to seek Him. Also, I just want to like share, because like we're very two attractive girls. We go out, we have great jobs. We're living a life that a lot of people would trade with us in a minute. But I
Mhm.
don't know, I don't think people, we have social media. We're we're so pretty on social media. We're so pretty at work, all of this. But I don't think people see the other side.
The dark side of
The
it.
dark side. It's not always pretty. And I want to take time to share with people what I went through with my mental health. I never experienced it. Like, I probably have experienced it, but I've never really experienced anxiety before. So anybody that's ever dealt with anxiety or depression, um, I definitely went through it when I moved from Dallas to New York for the first time, and I just got put onto Wendy. Um, I just got into my new apartment. I was living by myself. I was working. I was doing jobs like working for New York Fashion Week, working with Wendy. Everyone was so proud of me, but my grandmother was in the hospital. I thought she was gonna get out. She never made it out. And I kind of, now that I look back, I kind of related to like maybe the anxiety and the depression was like a warning, kind of, because she was in there, and that was during the time she was in there. Maybe my body and my nerve knew something was coming,
Mm-hmm.
but my mind didn't, or my heart didn't. I don't know, but my mental state was very messed up. It would be nights where I could not sleep. Like I would be in my bed, and I sometimes I think it was like separation anxiety, or I don't know, because I was so away from my family, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why I thank God that I met you, because I really didn't have no one here until I met you, and I think this was going on. This was going on when we met. But it was around the time a little bit before I met you. But it started like my hand would shake,
Yeah.
like, and it wouldn't even move. It would just be like the nerves
It just be
inside.
like quivering and
Yeah,
stuff.
my
Yeah.
it would like jump, like, and my hand won't even be moving, but my hand would be shaking.
Mm-hmm.
My heart will start palpitating. I would shake in my bed. I could not sleep at all. I would get so depressed. It was like something took over my mind, and I didn't know what it was. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was like asking Jesus, like, I want my mind back. Like I was so it was just so dark. It was like the devil was taking over me, and I'm like, Kendall, like, you have everything that you wanted.
Yeah.
Everything you put your mind to, you have now. What's wrong with you? What, like, and I was like, is this how the like celebrities feel?
But to that point, it's like just because, you have everything that you want,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean that there aren't other things that could still be affecting you that
Affecting
you
you.
don't even realize.
Realize, and I went through, and in
Yeah.
Texas I went through a lot, but that's a episode. That's a different episode. We're gonna get into that too. But in Texas I went through some things, and I
Mm-hmm.
think God isolated me for a reason, because I was going through all of that stuff, and He put me into an isolation mode for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I never really dealt with it. And I think that's what I was doing in that moment by myself. I was dealing with it. And I said to myself, I was talking to my mom about it, my grandmother about it. I said, I don't want to deal with it by going to drugs. I
Absolutely.
don't want to deal with it by having sex with people. I don't want to deal with it by being angry, or I want to deal with it in a way that's healthy.
Right.
So I started watching Sarah. I started Sarah Jake Roberts. She really helped me. And when I want to give her flowers now, because she's a great messenger for the Lord. Like that really helped me. It was one sermon where it was just like she was talking to me, because it would be so bad. My depression would be so bad I couldn't even like wash dishes.
Yeah.
Like I'll be washing dishes and I'll just have to stop and sit down on the floor and cry.
It's like you lose motivation.
Like, yes,
You just lose your
it be
whole
in my
will.
heart.
Yeah.
Like, and one time I was walking, I was working New York Fashion Week as a PA, production assistant, working, and I had to go home because I started like shaking, like with my leg.
Mm.
My vision started getting blurry. I started tapping. I had to keep going in and out. I tried to drink water. My anxiety, I thought that, this is just a thing when I go to sleep. So I would try to avoid going to sleep. That didn't work. So it started to be more than that, because I just started having anxiety, like in the car driving. Like it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that got me through was wine. That's why I love that song by Adele, I Drink Wine. Cause that the Josh wine, red wine, and the Snoop Dogg Cali red, that really, just that was good. Jesus had wine in the Bible. So
That is very
yeah.
true.
But just to finish, what got me, so I'm gonna talk about what got me through it, because I don't want to leave it at there. And I'm sure, as life goes on, I'll I'll go through it again.
There's gonna be trials
There's
and
gonna be,
tribulations.
yeah. I'm
Absolutely.
sure that I'll go through it again, but I got through it, and now if I do go through it again, I'll know how to. I know
You're
that it'll
better
be okay.
prepared.
You're better prepared, and you know that it will be okay. And that's all I want to share with you guys. You don't have to resort to drugs. You don't have to resort to all of these things. Find your way. Find your positive way. Find what works for you. And what worked for me, I was listening to, like, God just poured into me. I was listening to sermons, TD Jakes, my grandmother. I was listening, reading the Bible, reading scriptures, but it was just one day where Sarah was preaching, and she it was like she was talking directly to me, and she said, you should, because I even had suicidal thoughts too, and I've never in my life wanted to harm myself ever. I don't even think I shared that with my mother. Like, I have never in my life wanted to harm myself, and I kind of did at that point. And it's two things that kind of helped me, that will definitely help me. Sarah was like talking to me, and she was like, like, it was like she was speaking directly, and she was like, God said, like, you shall live and you shall not die. And I rebuke any depression, any anxiety, any thoughts of suicidal, any suicidal thoughts. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus, because I went through it too, and I'm telling you that you're gonna get out of it. God, no more, like, no more. And it was like, it's like a, just God just
It just, you
healed
felt
me.
like a power
I felt
over you,
yes,
right? Yeah.
I felt like, wow, like, I'm okay. And from that point forward, I never felt any, I never felt that anymore. I've been okay, and I got through it. And another thing that helped me was TikTok. TikTok, I'm serious. It was literally, I was scrolling on my phone, and it was a girl, and she basically was saying how it was like a little TikTok video, and she was saying she was beautiful, and she was basically saying she wanted to end her life. Like,
Right.
it was like a little sad song. And in the amount of love and encouragement and the stories that were shared under the post helped me, because one lady was like, it was during her 20s where she felt it. Everybody was sharing, like, my 20s was my hardest,
Yeah.
and we're 20. Like, everybody was sharing
In our 20s.
in our 20s.
Just to be clear.
everybody everybody was sharing their stories and how they overcome and how it gets better later.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like I should share that to anybody that have, like, we go through it too, and it's other ways. But I would like for you to, if you care, to share your story.
Um, I guess I will start my story off with I grew up in a town that, there wasn't much diversity. So I was one out of like a few black families in my entire town. So that in itself was already hard to deal with, because you're dealing with, growing and coming into your own, and you're looking around and there's nobody else around that is like you. And that's very isolating, and it feels bad, because you just want people to maybe understand your black experience, understand the things that you go through, but there's not really, other people for you to do that with. So I went through that, and I went through a lot of bullying. I started getting bullied in the 4th grade, and it continued to my sophomore year of high school. I remember not wanting to go to school, crying to my mom and dad. I was literally being tormented, and I used to look in the mirror and literally hate myself.
Wow.
Because I was like, I come to school, I just try to be myself, and like all, like, these kids, like, just keep like pushing me and keep, hurting my feelings. And like, I know it sounds like, but I have to catch myself, because I was about to let the issues that we have in the black community take me down.
Right.
In the black community, it's hard to talk about that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
You talk about being bullied, and they're like, girl, like, come on, like, what's wrong with you? But it was hard, though. So I struggled a lot with just my identity and everything, and I had a lot of dark thoughts. And I think it was a few months ago when I was home, and I remember I used to journal a lot. And I remember in my journals from when I was younger, it was heartbreaking, because I look back now and I'm like, I wish I could just give younger me a hug,
Yes.
and be like, it's going to be okay. Like, you feeling underappreciated and everything like that doesn't last forever. You're going to come into yourself, and other people are going to see that light in you that you didn't see in yourself. So I went through a lot of dark thoughts, and, I remember reading things about how I wanted to harm myself, and Um, it was just very, very difficult until I started college and then I went to school in Florida. And I felt like I needed to do that because I needed a change of pace. I needed more diversity. I needed to be around other people that look like me because I needed that for my own personal growth.
Right.
Until, things went wrong in Florida as well. And I started kind of shutting down because, people were bullying me and being mean to me at a certain point, and I felt myself getting into a very dark space. And I remember there was a time period that I cried every single day in my room. I had the lights off all the time. I barely ate. I just really, like, basically, it was like I was going back into that place that I was when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day I just looked around and I was like, I can't keep living like this. Like, this isn't right. This doesn't feel right. This isn't the person that I want to be. And so I started to try to find outlets and different ways to cope with everything. Um, Never drugs. It was more of just going out. I was in Florida, so I would go to the beach by myself and like just take myself out on dates. I literally started dating myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that was important because I needed to become comfortable with being by myself and being alone. And I think that that helped me grow and be more comfortable in my own skin. And then I transferred back up to a school in Jersey. And by doing that, I then started meeting new people, started coming into my own and realizing, like, okay, I really want to take, my career seriously and, you know, try to do things for myself and get to the start, getting to the level that I want to be at.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, during the pandemic, it was really hard, dealing with everybody had family issues, it seemed like at that point, because everybody is forced to stay in the house together.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I think that, just being home and being with my family and everything, like, it was nice, but also it was like a bittersweet moment because
Mm-hmm.
I was like, love you guys, but also like I started realizing, I was like, maybe there's certain things that are wrong
In
within
our
my
house.
own family
Yeah.
unit that we need to work through. So
Mm-hmm.
then we started family therapy, and that gave me so much enlightenment, and it helped me, you know, it helped
Process.
me process, and it helped me want to, continue and get through and realize that there are certain things that maybe I was angry about
Mm-hmm.
that maybe it's time to let go. And I think that's the most important thing, letting go
And forgiving yourself.
and forgiving myself.
Yeah.
Because I did therapy in high school trying to, cope with the bullying thing. But I don't think in my brain I was ready. Like, I don't think I was ready to really tackle the issues that I was going through so then I can positively move forward. And I think that's why I ended up having that breakdown in college. But this family therapy session and everything, shout out to my therapist, she literally was the best. And she really helped me realize, like, you can't make other people see things the way that you see them.
Yeah.
If someone else is not ready to grow and is not ready to accept the help in therapy,
Mm-hmm.
then you can't force them. You have to you have to look at yourself and be like, I have to choose me.
Mm-hmm.
I have to choose my own mental sanity. And I have to choose the fact that I want to be in a certain place, and I got to just get myself there, and either you're going to come with me or you can fall back. But
Right.
I just got to keep it pushing because I can't let that negative energy bring me down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say to everybody, going through family issues or things like that, like, it's very important to really just focus on yourself. Sometimes you need to choose you. That doesn't mean you don't love your family,
Yeah.
but sometimes you just have to choose what's important for your heart and what's going to get you to the next step so you're not feeling stagnant.
Um, I like how you said you start like dating yourself or
Mm-hmm.
taking yourself out on dates and stuff like that, because I think a lot of our mental, like, a lot of our mental health issues come from being alone, scared to be alone. I am very I I still I still am, but I'm working on it. That's the journey
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going through. Cuz I realized I've never been by myself. I've
Mm-hmm.
never done anything by myself. I've never been alone. like ever. And if you've never been by yourself, how do you know that you really like yourself? Or how do you know you love yourself?
You got
Like,
to be content in your
and
heart.
you
You
gotta,
can't,
yeah,
and especially when it comes to relationships too, like
yeah,
you cannot give yourself to another person if you're not even okay in your own heart.
yeah,
Because it's like you don't even know who you are.
yeah.
So how are you going to go then cater to somebody else?
Mm. Um, you have to. I have to get. That's why I'm on the journey that I'm on
Mhm.
for my mental sanity. I don't want to depend on nobody. I want to be at the end of the day. I want to be the type of woman that is so content with herself that having a man is like the cherry on top.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
a
like a little
bonus.
the icing on
Yeah,
top
it's
of
the
the cake.
icing on the cake. But the cake and the foundation and all the good
That's all
content
you.
that's inside, that's all me. That's
Mhm.
all what I found within me. So I think that it is great that I think that's another layer. Learning who you are
Mhm.
and liking yourself. You could be mentally disturbed if you don't like yourself.
Mhm. And what I mean about finding your journey, I mean it's about finding different hobbies. When you're
Yeah,
dating yourself, it's finding hobbies, finding
yeah.
little things that, make
Like you
you
said,
happy.
journaling, I picked that up. That is
Mhm.
the best. Journaling and taking notes and applying them to your life.
Mhm.
So, and different, and like this is how I try to make my mind do. So I try to like go into different aspects, like, okay, spiritually, I want to be closer to God.
Right.
So I need, I went and got a journal for that. I got a journal for it so I could get in touch with my spiritual side and the things
Mhm.
that and speak the word of God in me, and I write it down and I go over my notes and I look back and I apply it to my life. That helps me mentally in my spiritual
Right.
realm of my mind. Then I say, okay, relationships. I've
Mhm.
been through some. I'm not ready to be in another one, but I am young and I I don't mind dating. But I don't want to get into a situation while I'm dating these different men. I don't want to get into a situation where I like a person so much or I fall back into, oh, I need to be around this person. Oh, I need to see this person. Oh, this person makes me feel this way, where I get thrown back into that mental health thing. So I shout out to Tony. You know I love Ashley
Tony.
knows I love Tony. Tony
Tony.
Gaskins. I hope you see
Also,
this.
Tony Gaskins, if you see this, can you respond to our questions that we put
Yes.
on your Instagram stories? Like when he
Right.
does the little ask me a question, because
Yes.
we have asked a lot and we have heard nothing back.
Nothing from you, Tony.
Tony.
Yes. But Tony is like my big brother, like, or my uncle. Like, he gives, especially when you are, I'm not even going to get into that because that's a conversation for next episode. But Tony gives so much game, not even game, just he just enlightens
A lot of
a
knowledge.
lot of knowledge to females, and young, old, middle aged, on how to love yourself and value yourself and not let a man make you feel anything less than what you are.
But
And
that's why you have
sometimes,
to date yourself
yes,
so they
so that
can't.
you can, yes, it's all full circle, so that
Mhm.
you can know what you like, what you don't like, how you want to be respected. Because I can take myself to Brooklyn Chop House, but if you can't take me, then I probably don't. But anyway, that's just how I want to be treated. I'm throwing shade. No. But
Oh, child. This is getting messy.
no. But what I want to say is, um, I got a journal for Tony and his lessons that he teach or whatever, and I started writing different things like some of his gems that he poured. When it comes to dating a man, like you gonna know when a man like you. You gonna know when a man really like you, and you need to let that man like you. Let that man do the work. Calm down, relax, be a woman, be like don't allow him to treat you anything other than what you are. But these are steps that you have to take. Don't give him none too fast. Don't 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 invite him to your house too early. Don't go over his house too early. Respect yourself no matter who this man is. And one thing, and I think Steve Harvey, he's a good one. Another, he said men love women with standards. You just got to get you some. You just got to get you some.
Period.
Yeah. So I think that this was a great conversation. Um, about mental health, and I want to get into more. I think mental health is so broad that we could talk about it all day, so it just doesn't even have to be one time. We can touch on mental health throughout this season because it's so important.
If there's different aspects of mental health that you guys want us to talk about or anything, definitely let us know.
Yeah.
Leave a comment, anything, because I feel like we talk about this all the time.
Yeah,
like,
this
even
is just
off
a regular
camera.
conversation.
This really is regular.
And I've never done this before. I'm so comfortable and I'm so chatty and I'm so talkative, and I love it. I love dropping knowledge, but also let us know like what you think. One thing I want to do before we wrap up though, I made this like a little thing that I want to do called manifestation. And I want every episode before you know any one of us leave is to say some things that we want to manifest in regards to this topic, in regards to um our mental health or whatever's going to, like, say some things that we want to manifest that in the future or in the near future that will happen, that we believe that will happen. So I'll start. I manifest that I'll go to therapy. I've never went to therapy. Um I always been skeptical of it because I've that black trauma, like you don't need therapy. If you need therapy, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
But are you crazy? But I literally feel like we go to the doctor when this is seriously, we go to the doctor when something on us physically is wrong.
Yep.
You go to the therapy when you're mentally having issues.
It's just as important.
It's just as important. The mind is, I think the mind is the strongest. Our mind,
and it's the most complex.
Yes.
It's not something you can actually see.
Yes. Our mind, like physically, you can go to the gym, but your mind got to get you there. Your mental gym is mental. You got it. You know what I'm saying? Because when I go to the gym, I'm fine.